Lived in a place, lived in space. Uh, I'm tired. I don't really have a show. I actually have not been following politics with all the car stuff and the holidays coming up. I'm sort of looking forward to watching The Witcher. Uh, haven't gotten around to it. Why have I been so busy? I just feel, I feel tired, old and decrepit and tired. Sometimes you're mentally taxed, and what you need to do is relax. I think we talked about this yesterday. Uh, I think I'm mentally relaxed. I don't think that I am, though. You're always the last to know when you're not mentally relaxed. So I used to have a really good schedule, and now I don't. I think I'm gonna start doing this regularly at 7 p.m. That's what the schedule says. We're gonna keep to that. We slid off our game plan. So let's set a timer. What we like to do around here. We might need to bring that in further. Stop asking me the same information. All right. That can sit here. That is not. This show's not going to be an hour. I don't have anything to say. I pushed it yesterday. Absolutely. There's some things. Is this Lord? This is the Lord sending. Hey, William. Good to see you. So did you ever tell me why your screen, your not screen, your not emoji, your icon was all black? Did I get that from you? Oh, excuse me. Whew. What a dizzy diddle a doodle a day. I I ran around the town and bought like some cookies from a bakery, right? Chocolate cake. I don't even like chocolate, but I ate it a lot when I lived with someone because she liked chocolate, and I was like, huh, chocolate cake. I haven't had that in a while. Let's get that. So I anticipate ending the year eating poorly, and then I'll usher in the next year with a little more food discipline. We're already gonna ginormously cut down our outside food intake. Um, and yeah, we're gonna get it moving. We got a plan, right? A creative plan to write and shoot and record some shit, learn some music, talk truth to the world, and try to be less full of shit. Essentially, I think a lot of people are full of shit. Um, have a be. We're trying to be interesting. Trying to be informed, right? We're trying to be interesting. We're not trying to be assholes, right? I think assholes don't have a lot going on, or they have one thing going on that they put all this faith in, and then when you take it away from them, they are back to what they think you are, right? A nothing nowhere person. And you can see this with all these people getting canceled, right? The guy who beat up a cab driver was on camera. He got arrested. He got fired from his gig, high end lawyer kind of gig. What is he doing now? They don't follow up on these people. Every now and then they do, right? But normally some teen punk kid saying something mean in high school, you should be able to recover from that. But I'm talking about these guys who are always the same character, right? Um, which we're trying to avoid that. So even if you've got good fortunes, we want you to be like a decent and cool guy. Even if you have poor fortunes, we don't want you to feed on the community, right? We want you to know that uh, there's some people like you. Maybe you can make a homie and get a mentor because that's the fucking great thing about mentors. They cut through a lot of the paperwork, quote unquote paperwork for you. Someone you like generally you like your mentor, is telling you some good thing to do about yourself. Oh, when I was your age and I wanted to be a guitarist or pianist or an artist or a painter or whatever. I didn't have any money either. I'm from the same streets like you, just 40 years earlier. Or, you know, I had all the money in the world and, I wish I hadn't done this or I wish I did more of that. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I'm always talking about generally about black folk and people on the bottom. Uh, and I'm also talking about social justice and the inner you that is you. I guess I'm talking. So yeah, but this whole thing started because I too get sort of. I think this whole thing might have fallen apart. Veterans Day, but that's fine. That's fine, right? We're finding new footing. Uh, we're finding new footing. You can't give up. You can't be like these people who will walk into a place and hurt innocent people. You can't be that, right? You can't be paranoid either, right? You can't happily engage in perpetual warfare with you and your neighbor, like TV or newspapers or the newspaper. Nobody reads the newspapers anymore. TV or news outlets want you to do, right? So you have to be able to, like we said, step back because I was getting crazy. I need new hobbies. I need something that I can work on. I can still follow that. I just can't invest that heavily in that anymore. Uh, and I think that's what people need because I got to tell you, man, the whole thing just sort of uh, hard in this pandemic. People are crumbling. Remember at the beginning, people were shooting people and getting into fights and punching stewardesses and all this kind of wild, ridiculous behavior. Uh, who's to say, not that it's you, but who's to say you don't have that kind of snapping in you? uh, why? I'm sorry, someone just texted me. Y'all probably can't see it. I'm assuming we're streaming to all outlets, but he said that they got a warrant for Alec Baldwin's phone. So my question then becomes why? What do they suspect is on Alec Baldwin's phone? What were they told by someone about Alec Baldwin's phone? Uh, and why his and not why his and not the armorers, right? So so hold on, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be checking to see if these things are on. Yeah, I'm streaming to both places. I, you know, the computer world is a computer world, baby, baby. There's nothing you can do. Thursday night football is supposed to be coming on shortly, right? I could stream a half an hour in the morning, a half an hour in the afternoon, and then come back and. Hey, Edward, good to see you. Uh, okay, let's look that up. Alec Baldwin. Ooh, search warrant issue for Alec Baldwin phone. Alec Baldwin iPhone sought by police. Why? Here's the thing. I I guess we're gonna read about it, but just from the idea of this and knowing what we know, uh, and saying what I just said, right? We don't want to be chess pieces here, unless they can prove that he did this thing intentionally. Skip this ad. Yes, I don't know. After 2 months after the first shoot of Russ cinematographer, hey, I mean, mind you, your phone, it's got all your pictures in it, all your text messaging. It's got your banking information in it. It's got, I mean, I don't like that. If I hit you over the head and take your phone and hold it to your face, it opens up. Your whole life is in your phone, right? And you carry it around with you. This is why cops always want it. You got rights here now, and when they look into your phone, they'll look for anything, right? What do they want after? Other the New Mexico don't. All right. After 2 months after the first shooting of Russ cinematographer, I'm reading this on Deadline. Who wrote this? Dominic Pattern and Anthony D'Alessandro. October, December 16th, 2:48 p.m. That's about 10 to 3, and it is now, what time is it? 7, Lord. Uh, 10 to 3. Yeah, it's about 5 hours ago. It's about 10 to 8 right now. Um, Lloyd refused to hand over the requested phone without an explicit warrant, which makes sense, which the cops now have. What is the explicit warrant that they want? And they may have more on the man who was holding the 1880 gun that killed Hutchins and injured director Joe Souza. They may have more. So they're trying to sound like Alec Baldwin intentionally shot this woman. Have not included every fact related to this investigation. A feint, AFFINT. Who's a feint? Is that the lawyer? All right, I skipped the whole freaking paragraph. Um, cinematographer, almost 2 months after fatal shooting of Russ cinematographer Hanya Hutchins by Alec Baldwin on the new movie set, the New Mexico set of low budget western. Santa Fe police want to look at Emmy winner's iPhone for more information. Yeah, just because you wanted to, but that's not a reason though. Okay, uh, African is requesting a warrant for the seizure and search of Alec Baldwin's cell phone to search for any evidence relating to the death of the. See, when you search a cell phone, it's not an open warrant to just look. If someone said, "Hey, I think that dude killed his wife, and I think he buried her under the barn," you can get a search warrant for the wife in the barn, right? But me going, "Hey, I think that guy killed his wife, and he buried her somewhere in New York City." And then for you to get a warrant for every property or, in New York under that kind of vaguish kind of. But so I'm thinking that they must know something and they should have mentioned it. But the idea of, hey, let us root through your phone, maybe so we can find something against you, is sort of ridiculous. All right, I hate to be taking the side of Alec Baldwin on this, but I don't look at it just as Alec Baldwin. I look at this as, yeah, your rights as a citizen. The more you get used to it being just kind of like pushed away like that, the more it means nothing. Uh, this is why we talk about social justice here. And they may have more on the man holding the 1880s gun that killed Hutchins and injured director Joe Souza. They may have more. That's implying guilt. What? So let's have it. A feint has not included. Who is a feint? Has not included every fact related to this investigation, but has included early. Oh my God, what's wrong with my reading? A feint, AFFIANT, has not included every fact related to this investigation, but has included only those facts a feint, AFFINT, believes are necessary to establish probable cause for the insurance of a search for the above mentioned device. Did that kind of know? What the fuck does that mean? That sounds like he's saying we didn't tell you all the evidence we have, but the evidence we did tell you about means we need to search that phone. Okay, what's the evidence though? This is the shit cops do all the time. They had these press conferences and they talk around shit, and they don't really say anything. And then 10 years later, when you found out that that's all bullshit, everybody's lawyered up and nobody wants to talk about it. Ooh, I wonder what they're looking for though. Interviewed on a number of occasions by sheriff's office, Baldwin. He was interviewed on a number of occasions. Baldwin, in a sit-down ABC George Survival interview this month, declared that he did not pull the trigger. Of course, see, of the gun that killed Russell. The Oscar-nominated actor said had no idea how a live bullet made its way onto the set. Following the interview, Baldwin deleted his Twitter account. Okay, he was probably taking shit from like all these people. A million people who always hated you for your now get to fucking dive into your Twitter account and be sinister because that's people, right? Baldwin told Stephanopoulos that the internet now is like a mob. It really is, right? Um, and I've been part of some. I hate to say it. Baldwin told Stephanopoulos that he's highly unlikely to. That's what he said. Now they'll see. Now you just okay to face criminal charges over the fatal shooting of Hutchins. He's probably repeating what his lawyers told him. But Santa Fe District Attorney hasn't ruled out the option, right? Okay, that makes sense. Um, Last Friday, New Mexico judge ordered that the first assistant director, Dave Halls, who told Baldwin that the pistol being handled on set was a cold gun, was subpoenaed by District Court Judge Brian Beidscheid after he ducked various attempts to be interviewed by Occupation Safety and Health probe on the arrest set. What? Last Friday, a New Mexico judge ordered that the first assistant director, Dave Halls, who told Baldwin that the pistol being handled on the set was a cold gun, was subpoenaed by the district court after he ducked various attempts, so he didn't show up and people had he wasn't returning phone calls. So now the judge said, "You better get your ass in here. You're going to prison, not prison jail." This is why people just lawyer up. So now it looks like he's on. Why is he running? Running. Um, this whole thing's a shit show. In addition to Hall, another person being questioned on the tragic incident is the Pix armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed, her attorney Jason Bowles, as well as her veteran film industry armorer her father, Fel Reed, in an ABC News interview earlier this month, are pushing a theory that sabotage is to blame for the loaded gun on the rest set. See, once it's someone, oh man, why? Now it's a James Bond spy epic. Why? 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 Sabotage. Why? Ugh. And someone told me that when they got there, the shells were taken out. Because I was like, oh, just print the shells and see whose fingerprints are on it. The shells were taken out. And they think that's the assistant director. Whew. People are going to jail for this. I don't know. I'm still not convinced it's Alec Baldwin. Um, I think the assistant director may get what do we call it? It's not murder, it's manslaughter. Uh, Aiding and abetting manslaughter after the fact by removing shells or shit from the scene of a crime, right? That can get you 10 years. Um, the girl can feign. Well, no, she can't feign incompetence because it's still a death. She's still responsible. She's got to say someone sabotaged this shit. She can't say she was lazy or she was asleep or she wasn't there or it was someone else's job. My money is still on. Now I want coffee and a cookie, but I'm having whiskey. I only drink on the show. Maybe the new year I won't drink. A lot of shit's got to change um, with this show. So I don't see how it's not her. So unless we're gonna keep reading, but unless they can tell me why they want to look specifically in his phone and for what, mind you, whatever you delete is still on record at like the Google whatever giant server that they have. So if I'm sitting up here tweeting at you at 2 in the morning, right? And you're a married lady, and I'm like, ooh, I want to see that poo poo, and you're like, ooh, you better stop that, and I'm like, ooh, sexy, 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 and you're like, ooh, you better stop that, hee 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 hee, and then the next day they go, hey, we think you were killed that guy yesterday at 2 in the morning, and I go, no, you know, I didn't do that. I was on the phone having sexy, sexy time with this friend of mine, but I can't really tell you who she is because she's married. All right, and then it hits the newspaper. They're like, "Well, we want to search your phone." That's a good reason to search my phone, by the way, because I just told you I was text messaging, and I'm like, you know, and she goes, "Oh, she deletes the message. If you delete it on my end, does it delete on her end? Probably not. But anyway, you could tie yourself because the tower that receives the message and then dropped it to her phone is out of whoever's hands to control that. So it just deletes it from your device. Um, you got to jump through more hoops, right? Now you got to deal with Apple's lawyers and their, $35,000 an hour lawyers. Um, but this guy ducking the health and safety people just get fucking a lawyer and hide behind it. Thurday said that his daughter stayed outside the church where the rehearsal took place that resulted in Hutchins' death. Wait a minute, why was she outside? Now all of a sudden she's an armorer who's nowhere near fucking any guns. Um, why was she's supposed to be okay, so she was on set. She was on set, but she wasn't on scene. It's so full of shit. I mean, the fuckery of this is amazing. This is what first time since cameras rolled that Thurs didn't directly hand the gun to Baldwin. This is the first time Reed told ABC that he that had his daughter been inside the church, she would have rechecked that gun. But I don't know that. Yeah, the brat. Can I be a brat pack of one person? That's like the sad pack. I think it's what that is. Uh, I'm reading this, but nothing is telling me why they want this gun. Val said that Guitarist Reed had spun. Oh well, juicy bits of information we're about to skip here. Uh, let's read the whole thing. Stayed outside the church where the rehearsal took place that resulted in Hutchins' death. This was the first time since the cameras rolled that she wasn't directly on set. So she was there every day, perfect work record on every scene, except for this one scene where she wasn't even there. Although she was on set because she was the armorer, and that's her job. She wasn't getting her nails done someplace because that would be negligent. So she was on set. She just wasn't on scene to handle the gun and hand the gun. She left that critical piece of information to someone else, and then she's saying while it was left for somebody else, someone sabotaged it. So who, if you're going to say someone's who sabotaged it, right? I can't sit here and go, "Ooh, he was likely murdered. He had a lot of enemies," and you go, "Really? Who? Who's his enemy?" And I go, "I don't know." What do you mean you don't fucking know? You just. Oh my god. So, uh, it, the narrative has to make sense for it to be plausible. And this narrative doesn't make any sense. I just think she was negligent, and besides, it was her job. I think the guy, the assistant director, complicates his life by avoiding the law. I may criticize the fuck out of them, but if a judge tells me to show the fuck up, I'm showing the fuck up in a suit and on my p's and q's because that's the way the fucking thing works. Um, Yeah, Donald Trump snuck on set to make Donald Trump wanted to make Baldwin look bad. See, this is your freaking karma. Um, I can be, don't get me wrong. I can be an asshole, but I'm normally an asshole when you're an asshole to me. I always ratchet it up as far as you ratchet it up, right? But you know, I can be. I I'm not trying to cause conflict out here in the world, and I think a lot of people are. It's their only way of relating to the world, right? Um, yeah. So let's get at this. This is the first time we're saying blah, 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 that she didn't directly hand the gun to Baldwin. Okay, so she was all over the place, but she wasn't there. Reed told ABC that his daughter had been inside the church. She would have checked the gun again, and if there was a live round in there, she would have caught it. All right. So, but she was on set. She was okay. Reed also defended his daughter, experiencing that she has been raised around gun safety since she was a little girl. Why are you raising? Okay. Bao said that the Gutierrez Reed has spun the cylinder. She had given it to Halls, who had shown him each of the 6 rounds. Hall was going to take custody of that weapon. He said, "Wait, why is he taking custody of the weapon? She's the head armorer." He said that he said that sabotage is the most likely possibility. Probably. The quote is the most likely possibility, period, probably, period. The most likely possibility is aliens, probably. Um, yeah, I get it. She's your little girl. I totally get it. She's like 23. This is what nepotism gets you. Uh, some people fall from grace. Some people just can't do the gig. Some people don't want to do the gig. Some people want to do the gig and can't do it. And every now and then, in that whole, hey, give my kid one of these $3 million a year gigs because, hey, I work in film and, hey, let my son sit on your board and I'll let your daughter sit on my corporate board. And, every now and then, one of them does something crazy and ends that family, right? And this seems like one of those round robin things. If you do Dungeons and Dragons, this is like rolling a nat one. Um, when you when you need when you need it least. He said that sabotage is the most likely possibility. Probably. He has previously said that he believes that someone may have intended to sabotage this set with live rounds intentionally placed in a box of dummies. Who? How long you been doing this? Right? Was it the last time you did this and someone suck it and they didn't get that set but they got this set? Who? Was it this was were these new enemies? Yeah, but that's George Clooney's opinion, and George Clooney's a weirdo himself, right? I mean, the more money you get, the more you think that you don't have to follow the rules. And I say it all the time: people worth, you know, $200,000 never show up in court. The court system is only for people making like 65 to 70 grand and less, really, right? Everyone else with money fights it out in claims court, civil court. No one's ever violent to each other. Very occasionally, like that doctor, was he a doctor who beat up a senator? Who's the senator whose neighbor neighbor hit him and I think I want to say fractured his arm and yeah, don't beat up fucking sitting senators. Paul, exactly, Rand Paul. Uh, so and don't get me wrong, men are men, and every now and then you get angry, and you should be allowed to fucking fight it out. Um, but it should be fair. You shouldn't be 6'4" and that guy 5'3", because you know what I mean. And you shouldn't sucker punch people. And this guy looked like he just tackled him and punched him in the face, and then but right. But yeah, he paid a price. I remember reading about the outcome of it. I want to say he got like 9 months in jail and like 5 years probation and had to pay all this restitution, all this shit, and stay away from your neighbor for 7 years. And if you stay out of 7 years, uh, then the whole thing is expunged. But if you get into fucking trouble, you're gonna do those 7 years, right? That guy's never gonna be in trouble again. But that whole arrogant attitude of I can put my hands on you is very common in America. It really is. And then thinking that you know people who can fix it for you. Not everybody knows somebody, and not everybody will fix it for you. Um, but at this level, you know, this is a scandal. When was the last time a famous person killed somebody? I'm thinking about OJ because he just officially got off parole. So now he can go drink, smoke a J if you wanna, go date your sister, travel, fly around the country, the world if he's gonna do that. Um, yeah, it was over a fence. It was neighbor bullshit. Yeah. Uh, Someone may have set live rounds intentionally placed in a box of dummies. But they found all these live rounds. They found like a ton of live. They found like a box of not like a box, but like a case. And I think we looked it up, and there was like 44 boxes in a case. So they found more than. Well, and the lot. Why were the live rounds? Oh fuck, man! Don't even get me started. Looking to counter any notion that the Rust set was a dangerous one, our 25 crew members who wrote a public letter that was reposted on Baldwin's Instagram, of course. So now they're gonna try and handle this like a PR firm, how actors handle shit. Um, and it's so legit that only he put it on his, not everybody else. And if this was sabotage like that dude said, why wouldn't he then exonerate Baldwin? Right? People are setting up camps here. If I think it's sabotage, then I don't think you did it or she did it or he did it, right? But I may have an idea who sabotaged. If I don't know who sabotaged it, then we all need to be strangers, and then it could be like a 1930s. I called you all here to find out who the real killer is, right? Because none of us know anything about any of us. But I mean, come on, so Hollywood said you know people. You got your daughter a gig on this thing. Um, Baldwin has been around since the '80s, right? In big movies, doing good acting work, right? Um, it's not like they don't know movies and movie sets. Uh, they've been around guns before. Baldwin was famously in that Tom Cruise shoot him up in the Paris subway in that Mission Impossible movie, right? So people know they worked around guns before. He did a ton of mob movies, serious ones, as well as uh, zany ones like Married to the Mob, right? But he also was an action star for a little bit with his wife Baldwin, where he ran around shooting at the cops trying to get away, right? I think not the Big Easy. He did a movie about Louisiana. Anyway, so like you're familiar and you've been around for 50 years. Nobody's exonerating anybody. Everybody's just saying I'm innocent and I'm super definitely unlikely to face charges. But I'm saying, like, you can't say stuff like that. Um, we're gonna see how this plays out and repost it on one person's Instagram. No one is saying I didn't do it, and I don't see it. I don't think Mr. Baldwin did it, or I didn't do it, and I don't think I think I Baldwin didn't do it, and I think the armorer is innocent too. Nobody's doing that. Looking to counter any notion that the Russ set was as dangerous. Wrote a public letter, reposted on Baldwin's Instagram on December 9th, who believed the public narrative surrounding our workplace tragedy to be inadequate and to wish to express a more accurate account of our experience. So that's just 25. You know how many people on the movie set? I always want to know what the percentage of that. The description of Russ as a chaotic, dangerous, and exploited workplace are false and distract from what matters the most: the memory of DP, uh, director of photography, Halia Hutchins and the need to find modern alternatives to outdated industry firearms and safety practice. Oh, really? Now you're gonna make an issue out of guns? No, 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 no. See what they did here? First, look. With our first thing to remember her, right? We're being caring and considerate of the dead here. And our next thing is to make an injury-wide practice, which never came up until this shooting, right? This is the insincerity of fucking people who release statements. You should have to talk to in front of a camera in a modern era of cell phones, right? You should have to talk to the body camera and let's hear what you have to say for yourself. And they all do this. As soon as shit goes bad, they only release fucking public statements. Or so and so didn't get back to me at the time of this. And it always sort of smells of sinisternesness. Sinisternesness? Unfortunately, in the film industry, it's common to work on an unprofessional, hectic production to gain experience and credit. The note continued. Many of us have worked on those type of production. Russ was not one of them. Russ was professional. I had worked on, I want to at least say 20 film sets, easily. And I mean, they hurry you. I never saw any weirdness. But then again, I wasn't around any of the big actors, right? I was either dealing with motor pool shit or food shit, or got promoted up to like doing some gaffer stuff and building sets and all this stuff. Uh, that was the second part. When I was an actor, like going to wardrobe and doing stuff like that, uh, it was just fun to be there. So maybe I didn't notice it. And then again, I wasn't anybody of any important anyway. But it always looked like people were like, we got X, Y, Z amount of dollars to do this with, and we're losing light, and everybody just hurry up. And it seemed like people were always rushing and hurrying. Um, so yeah. Should we look up another one? Should we read a search warrant issue for Alec Baldwin? I mean, no one has said what they are looking for in the search warrant. That's the thing. Santa Fe Mexico search warrant fatally shot in the Center movie. Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office believe that there are key conversations on Baldwin's phone related to what led to the prop gun. What is that? See, that's not evidence. You think that to who? Who is he talking? Who's he in cahoots with? Right? I don't. I think, and this is, it's sort of brutal. Key conversations. Oh well. I mean, then you get it and you find nothing there. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Um, the director, that right there is a sinister, twisted genius, William Conway. So the 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 director of photography was shot and killed, but the director was shot. Maybe the director set this up to be shot so he wouldn't look like. See where we're going here? Now you need Columbo or Ironside or Beretta or did I say Columbo? He was the one. Who was the guy with the horse? McLeod or Ironside was the guy in the wheelchair. There had to be like a few more of these guys. Cannon, thank you. That right there ages us nicely. This has been a Quinn Martin production. Da-da-da. Yeah, man. Every week there was a 2 hour movie of a detective show. They were good stuff. Um, and they would show you the crime and who did it. So it wasn't really a who done it. But then the detective would show up and start looking at stuff and finding stuff that was left in odd places and build this thing together. And it was more about how they caught the bad guy versus who the bad guy was. And I think it's because it was the '70s, they'd forgotten how to write a really good mixture of who did it. Now they really didn't need who did it. They just wanted to let you know how it was secretly done. So yeah, outrageous, outrageous. So yeah, I have to come up with a schedules. I need a couple of schedules. I need to regiment my days from here on out. Um, oh my God. Uh, so we got to get a little fit. We got to set up a honest streaming schedule that I stick to, like we were doing earlier. This is the last. Like I said, this is the last of the year. I'm sort of. I liked Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. I remember FBI Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. Yeah, these were the stars of the '70s and '80s. I want to say up to about '83. Yeah, Quinn Martin had all of these things. Quinn Martin production. And this time of year, you'd watch that, and then you'd watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Ah, man. What's that movie with Ralphie where a guy's recalling you his childhood Christmas? A Christmas tale? A Christmas story. The Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas, right? And Carl Malden. Yeah. There was the Mod Squad, and yeah, I remember all of these shows. They were a good story for half an hour, right? So your first 2 minutes would be the setup, then a commercial would come on, and then you would come back, you'd be in a station house or something, and somebody was getting a case, or it had happened and they would show up on the scene and the body was still on the street, and then they talk to like the cop and like who found the case. Hey, well, yeah, I just found him here, Lieutenant, and he's sitting up here, and he was a neighborhood tough guy, you know. Well, I patrol every eight. And the guy's like, all right, talk to you later at the house if I need you. And then he goes up to his party. They're both in plain clothes and suits. And then they're looking at the body, and there's always this up camera angle. And they're like, yeah, I knew he was going to get it. Didn't think he'd get it this way. Then they lean down, and someone would inevitably take a pencil or something and pick something up, right? Like this, and go like this. Right? What do you got there? Huh? A lipstick or a shell casing, but he was shot with a 22, not a 38. And then that sets off this whole chain of thing for the next 40 minutes. Uh, yeah, it's good stuff. It's so formulaic, though. I remember him all. The only thing that changes were the weekly actors, the method of murder, the reason for murder, and I think that's it. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. When I was younger, I used to read Agatha Christie. I think I read all of her stuff. The idea of how you, the idea of how you construct a story to keep people interested in. Like Ten Little Indians is a really famous one. Um, and the idea of that is somebody invites 10 people to an island, and then he starts bumping them off, and the people on the island have to figure out who the murderer is and why they've all been summoned there. It's very much like Clue. Clue is pretty good for a parody of a board game, and the board game was based on, right. In the old days, people would get together and play Who Done It, because back then people liked to read and didn't have a lot to do. You could you do that now? Play have people over at your house and play a Who Done It game? I don't know if you could. I think the average people are just kind of like over it. Uh, it's got to be. I don't know. I don't want to say that. People like escape rooms. So you're all invited, you and 13 other people, and you have to solve a mystery, and I think it's like 3 hours, 2 hours to do it, 2.5, 3 hours to do it. And someone directs the story, so you know it's like Murder on the Orient Express is one, but also Murder on the Nile is another one where someone dies and then they're trying to figure out, and then someone else dies and then they're trying to figure out why she died, um, and then someone goes missing, and it turns out this is a 50-year-old movie. It turns out that the person who died originally uh, uh, was, I want to say, someone's first wife, but he was there with a woman who was playing that the wife, um, or something crazy like that. Uh, and then they saw her, the witness saw her die, and then when they were questioning the witness who was a maid decided to keep her mouth shut because she thought she could get money, and then she turns up dead, and then they were trying to figure out why did she turn up dead. Um, and a woman who disappeared, turns out that uh, one of the women who was with the murderer uh, showed up, got like was had a different identity or something crazy like that. I remember Adam 12. I remember Dragnet too. Dun 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 dun. It's 10:15 a Sunday. We were working the graveyard shift. So and so had just gotten a call. It was all very business. It was like reading a briefing. So and so just got a call about a 218 uh, truant or whatever. When they went to find the truant, the girl was dead. We called homicide. Me and my partner Joe picked it up. Joe Friday. We work homicide at the so and so section of Squad X. At, what is it? We work. It would be we work homicide at the 4 to 10 shift at the 83rd precinct here in Van Nuys or Brooklyn or whatever. And then you smash cut to them on the scene, looking around, talking to random people. And at the end of it, it all wraps up with who did it and why they did it, and how much time they got. So and so was convicted, and then there's a mugshot him saying the other two. So and so was convicted of felonious stupidity with no redeeming virtue, was given a 15-year sentence. So and so was found to have been led astray, 12-year-old girl, and was put in foster care and was adopted out. Because the books on this case, dun, 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 dun. Very classy, very very classy. You got used to knowing the formula, and it's easy to fall in. Versus, well, Law and Order has a formula. I haven't watched Law and Order in forever, but Law and Order also has a formula, right? It's 5 seconds of talking, random people, some random stranger generally runs across a body, and then you get your bow, 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 bow. That's Barney Miller, I think. Uh, then you get your like intro with the weirdness and the flashing cars and the whistling flute, and then it comes back and everybody's on the scene talking about, hey, she's a prostitute dressed out here. Oh look, she goes to Juilliard. She was a dancer. Oh, da, 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 da. Do you got to tell her mother? Did she have any friends? She hung out with Sarah. Sarah's a girl from the streets. And they're like, she was too wild for me. And right, that's how you talk to Sarah. But she told me that she was in love with Tom, so I think he was her professor. Then you go back to the original spot, and it turns out that the professor killed her. Yeah. And then the Law and Order half of it kicks in. The other half, you get half of Cop Show, you get half of the lawyers convicting people. Yeah, Peggy Lipton. Isn't Peggy Lipton is a famous actress's mother? Dragnet Adam. I don't know. You know, Peggy Lipton is the girl from The Office's mother. What is her name? And she does those weird commercials. I want to say the travel commercials. She was, she was not. Not the Office. It wasn't the Office. It was Parks and Recreation. So the girl who was in Parks and Recreation is Peggy Lipton's daughter. Right, right. Back in the early 70s. What is her name? Yeah, whoever she was the lead actress who was on Saturday Night Live. She was her best friend. But that's Peggy Lipton's. She's Peggy Lipton's daughter. All right. Whew. Are we gonna call this one? What time is it? We haven't been going very long. But I gotta tell you, I'm having computer issues. I have to figure out a way to make space on this machine. Yeah, got a full hard drive, so I gotta figure out how to move stuff. Who are they playing Saturday night? The Patriots play Saturday night. What is the Patriots record? The Giants suck. What is their record? Am I even gonna look it up? I don't even want to look it up. I was having a good day, man. What other? What's the NFC standings? The Chiefs are 9-4. The Patriots are 9-4. The Dolphins are third. How the fuck is the Jets number 4 in the East and they're 3-10? See, this is why this doesn't make any sense. But they want to lengthen the season so you could think that uh, the FC South 9-4, 7-6. The Titans are 9-4. The Colts are 7-6. The Texans are 2-11, and the Jaguars are 2-11. Why? Standings. You know, I can't even say anything, man. I can't even say anything. All right. Ooh, I just read it, but the Colts are. Didn't I just say the Colts are 9-4? The Colts are 7-6. The Patriots are 6-0 away. So the Patriots are playing at home because this says that they're 6-0 away. How does that even make sense? They won three. They lost four at home. All the games they lost were at home. Huh? We're the Colts. The Colts are 7-6, and they're 4-2 away, and 3-4 at home. Patriots at the Colts. So the Patriots might. I mean, yeah. If the flavor stands, it looks like it's the Patriots. Week. So the Colts home 3-4. They lose more at home than oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Thursday night football. I could probably. I think something's. Amazon has started streaming football, and I've been sitting here watching. I hate to say it, but I've been sitting in this chair, other than going out, since about 7 a.m. Not actually a good thing. Um, so yeah, so we're gonna get up and walk around. Hey, Milton Banana, good to see you, man. Almost missed you in the chat. So yeah, can we play Who Done It at the lawyer's house in South Carolina? That dude is sitting in jail. He's gonna see. That's what I mean by falling away. Like he had one of those moments where he got oh he became too much, right? Whatever this is one of those moments with Hollywood where people just draw away and leave you to flounder for yourself and act like they didn't know anything about it or you, and you'll hope that you've made some allies, but you know we will see. Back in Georgia, those beautiful Smoky Mountains. Mm. Ugh. So yeah, I was saying earlier, I have to come up with like four schedules. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I gotta come up with like four schedules. I gotta come up with like a learning music schedule, a regular cooking schedule, sort of a regular get fit schedule. All within like a regular work schedule. So I think it's gonna likely be um, like an hour a day per not per thing but a random thing a week. So I'm always doing something. And with the cooking, I'll just cook more regularly at a regular time. Cause you ever cook something and then not eat it, yet you just wait for it to cool down so you can stick it in a box in the fridge. Uh, I'm there, but what I need to do is um, just cook more for myself, right? I told you the conversation I had with my mom. I was talking. I'm always talking to her about recipes. She was like, she doesn't cook anymore. I was like, what do you mean you don't cook anymore? She was like, my father, he cooks everything now. She's like, you know, she calls him when she talks to my father about me. She says, your daddy. So your father cooks. She said, your daddy cooks everything. I'm like, Ma, if you're still eating, you should still be cooking. I'm like, this is a skill set you want, and she's like, can't be bothered with it, right? Now I can't hate on it. She cooked for me my whole life till I moved out, right? I know the woman can ball out of control, but I just find it amazing that she's not cooking anymore. And my father has always. This is the way it worked in my house. My mother uh, generally cooked um, like once or twice a week. My father cooked more, uh, and my father cooked on the weekends, always on the weekends. Um, and my mother will cook a Sunday breakfast: pancakes, sausage, eggs, grits, biscuits, right? But my mother did the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and that's how I see it. That's how I view it. That to me is Americana, right? Uh, Now people want you to have Chinese food for Thanksgiving. That one lady said, "Have a turkeyless Thanksgiving," right? We're just so at war with each other. Have it. Look, let's not hate on all traditions, right? Um, so maybe you're not having turkey, but maybe you will have pie, right? Apple pie, cranberry pie, whatever. May, but it's just the idea of it is that we're all supposed to be doing it together. I guess. Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Are we all the same if none of us like each other? Right? Are we countrymen if everybody can't wait to sort of watch someone else fail? I don't know. I don't know. So instead of having these weird little questions, I need to sort of get my head together before. Look, listen. I tell you where I am before. I think a lot of people just need to either get a little bit of their skin, go running, go jogging, bike riding, walking on the beach, walk there to get a dog, then go walk that dog, right? Um, get a core group of friends or reinvest in your family. Any of those kind of things, right? Then just going, I'm sad, and having somebody go, Here's a prescription for Zoloft. Take 6 of these pills for the rest of your life. See you when I see you. And then like 8 years later, you have addiction to this, that, or the other thing, right? So before you try any, and I'm not saying don't, but I'm saying before you try any of those pills, maybe you should try 6 months of getting out into fresh open air. You know, um, take a risk like you used to, because people get risk averse the older they get. Um, take you and your best girl dancing, right? Do something where you can have some fun and risk a bit, but don't break a hip or anything. Uh, I don't know. Ice skating, roller skating. That's dangerous now that you're older. I'm assuming that you're like my age. Um, but you know what I'm saying? You have to get a college class to teach. Nobody will listen to me. How to keep a 40 cold and roll a good and breathable joint. These are the things that I can give you. Sunday sessions, remember? What we are a group of people trying to get there. Um, think yourself as like, I was about to say superheroes. That doesn't make sense. Like I have an idea of like government agents, right? Like so you're all trained in a bunch, and then you all go out and do your own thing, and then you come back. Um, and that's what I always thought church should be, right? You get powered up on Sunday, depending on the kind of church person you are. Um, and that's not always about God. For me, church was about socialization. People I only saw on Sundays. Those people, that girl that I like that I only saw on Sundays, that kind of stuff. Um, it was a nice place. There was always food at church. After the service, all the women would cook. We would be there sometimes all day, running around in the backyard playing games. It was a nice and that's where I associate church. I mean, a lot of people they don't their church is just pews and rebuke. I'm like, no wonder you don't want to fucking go to church. I totally get it. Um, but yeah, so that's what my Sunday session is more about. Like, kick back, have a glass of something. Don't be an asshole to anybody, um, and talk about everything. You might be wrong. You might leave pissed off. Come back next week because we don't hold grudges. But don't come back next week with your issues or your problems, right? We might continue the conversation, and you might be like, "Man, I was angry at that conversation for like 2 months, and then I finally got it." Right? Well, it's that kind of thing. You should treat like I say this about my family. I have had argued with just this. I was like yelling at my sister, but that's what happens with family. Your voice gets louder, you yell, but that's not an argument. Arguments are animus and anger and hatred, right? We may fight out our points loudly. Ah, you're crazy. Get out of here. That's ridiculous. The Jets are America's favorite team. What the hell is wrong with you? Right? Ha ha ha. In my cop days, I would show up at people's families and they hated each other. And I was like, how did you get here? And that made me really, really appreciate my family dynamic. So yeah, I have cousins who go off the rails like that. Uh, but more often than not, you know, you never get you were never allowed to get that angry at any family member. And that's the first thing I remember as a kid, right? My mother going, like, don't hit girls, the first thing little boys learn. It's not because you're trying to make feminists of us, but because boys have more power than girls. And boys will do damage, so you don't hit girls, right? But they don't tell you that then. They tell you, you be nice to your sister. You don't hit anybody, right? And then you realize later on in life, these gender mechanics, things have to be explained to you in a way that you can get it. And until you can get it, uh, threats from your parents work well too. Because you never hold a grudge against your parents. If your parents did it right, some people hate their parents, and I will always blame the parents for a fucked up kid. So when that kid shows up, does whatever dark thing he did, I'm like, what kind of person did you raise and unleash on the world? Explain yourself, right? Kids don't get there all by themselves. If you can make doctors and engineers. You could, or you could make people what I don't know waiting to exhale. Is that's a song, right? Anyway, uh, how often would the people turn on the cops? Well, here's the thing. The people have been rebelling against the cops now for at least 10 years in America. Nobody called it that, but people are perpetually protesting cops' behavior. Um, what you want is cops that represent the community, right? So hire more people from these communities. Keep an eye on them because with power comes, abuse. I hate to say it, and make sure you pluck them out, and that's it. This idea that there's going to be some internal war, I guess. People keep romanticizing it, and they romanticize about everything, the blacks and the whites, the north and the south. It's like what? Like, how are we even a country if you just keep fantasizing about murdering your fellow Americans? It's because what I said, we all don't stand on any principle together, and that's part of the problem. At least when we were kids, I pledged of allegiance and all that stuff, even though the place was bullshit. So instead of fixing any of the thing that they should have fixed, they just sort of made it worse. Um, but like I've said, somebody has to come and fix it. Well, oh, yeah, how often will people turn the cops? Oh, you mean like when I went to these domestic? All the time, all the time. You call the cops and you have to throw this on the handcuffs, and all of a sudden the mother's hitting you, and so on. You got to call more cops, and then before you know it, the whole family's getting arrested. Why'd you call the cops in the first place? Some people are ridiculous. The idea that I would hit anyone in my family is ridiculous. And you show up to people's houses all the time, and they hit their sister, hit their mother, hit their brother, got into a knockdown, drag out brawl, and you do it regularly apparently, because we've been here before. When you go up to these places, they go, take note. What is my call sign here? Uh, Whiskey Charlie. You like that, William Conway? Take note, Whiskey Charlie. Uh, in the past month, they had like 4 cop visits, and the last one was 2 days ago. Okay, Roger that. Central, can you roll me one more card just to be sure? Yeah, anybody want to back up Whiskey Charlie? And somebody go, uh, Sierra Amada will back him up. And then like you go up there and you got you and your partner, and then another car on the way, and you wait for them to get there, and then you separate the combatants and you talk about, come on, man, it's fucking Christmas. Like you try and be ethnic with them if you have to be. Yo, man, I got no problem locking your ass up. Honestly, I don't. But come on, man, it's fucking Christmas. I'm trying to get out of here. All right. You play a little race games with them too. My partners here will be happy to lock your black ass up, or your Latino ass up, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes people, like, actually not sometimes, but I would say 70% of the time people be like, man, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I'm telling you, if I lock you up today, you're getting out in 4 days. It's the weekend. It's Thursday. By the way, don't get arrested in New York on a Thursday, because you will be in till like Monday. Get arrested on a Tuesday or Monday. You'll be out by Wednesday. Tuesday, yeah. But everybody likes to get arrested on a fucking Thursday. Thursday, then Friday comes around. People, yeah. And by the time you can see anybody, it's like Sunday morning. That's the big city. I don't know what it is in the country. Your ass may be sitting there for a minute. All right, your man, your homie, your boy, I'm done. Uh, I'm not really happy with my piano book. So I think I'm just gonna take a break. I'm gonna come up with a music system. I think it's likely will be half hour of guitar, half hour piano, um, every day next year. I don't think I'm gonna film that. Well, I'm gonna film that. I don't think I'm gonna broadcast that though. I might do it once a month just to show if I'm improving, because the whole point is to learn something and improve. Um, hey Rick, good to see you. I'm sorry, I'm like talking over. Um, So yeah, betterment. Look, that whole idea of New Year's resolutions is a good idea, and everybody gives up on it. So you think, I shouldn't. That's the idea of besmirching a good idea. You always have an opportunity to make yourself better every day, right? True. I'll tell you my whole system. I like to do things either on the first of the week, which is always Sunday, first of the month, which is comes 12 times a year, or first of the year, which comes once a year, right? So. Uh, I was gonna do something the first of this month, but then like had the flu and the car issue. They were like, so now we're gonna excuse me. I've got a issue happening here. So now we're gonna do something in the new year, and we'll track it that way. It'll be fun. But I have this number thing. Anybody want me to read their tarot cards? Here you go. Be interesting. Um, you know who loves interesting people? Everybody. Back in the old days, man, we used to go to parties. I mean, if we didn't have a pandemic, I would throw a party here in beautiful Virginia. Um, let's see what we got here. Ooh, Queen of Cups. Am I feeling? I am. Ace of Swords. I do a bridge version versus a deluxe version, which is ooh upside down. Ooh upside down. You know, some people believe that the tarot card is the last three of these are upside down. Um, it's the mark of the devil. You know, people say that are also the people who uh, collect tons of money with their church and build shit for themselves and never help anybody else out. It's not the 1600s, man. Even as if you had a deck of tarot cards in your possession in Iran, they will kill you as a witch. Why are we even with some of these people? You know what I'm saying? Uh, anyway, be interesting. Read, cook, play the piano, do it sooner than I did it. But we're still doing it. Next year is going to be very interesting. So yeah, I have to figure this whole thing out. And since it's also tradition that I clean my apartment at the end of the year, this apartment needs to be cleaned. So yes, so you're a second ahead of me, William. Second ahead of me. So tomorrow I'm going to be back here tomorrow at 7. Right, we're going to get back on our game. It won't be at 7:30 or it'll be at 7. I will be back. I promise you tomorrow at 7. I promise you. And we're going to, organize a homeboys guild or some shit. And we're going to talk shit and learn music and read books and follow politics. And I really want to know why they wanted his phone. What is in his phone? What is in Baldwin's phone? It sounded like a reach. It sounded like fishing, but they got a warrant for it. So weird. Mary, they call them Merry Maids. Yeah, I also have to change my name for the new year, right? Because there's a lot of true with no e's running around. Look, as a kid of graffiti, I had a ton of like cool nicknames. I just have to come up with one. Uh, who knows, man? All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cell phones and landlines. We are out of here. I really have to fix this whole deal. I have to empty out this computer. It's first world problems, right? First world problems. Uh, anyway, we will see all of you in the next one, and the next one tomorrow at 7 sharp. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. And if I don't see you again for Christmas, spoons and forks. Merry Christmas if I don't see you. Um, hopefully I will, but if I don't, Merry Christmas, man. It's the season. Take it easy on yourself. Give yourself that gift. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.